This time on Empire, the VL is done. Only kidding. We're working on the XB today. Everyone's been busting my hump to get back into the XB, so I've set aside a couple of days or 2 half days to come down here and get some more progress done. Most of the bodywork, as you know, is up to Jake, but there's still plenty for me to do. So today, the engine is going to go on an engine stand. I'm going to start getting that cleaned up and detailed, and then see what else we get up to. Got the engine on the crane for now, but before it goes on the stand, I've got to pull off this flywheel. It's not the flywheel, I don't know what it's bloody called, but it's got to come off because this car's going back to a manual, and obviously this one is an automatic one, so I'm gonna pop this off and then get on that stand, drag it up front and get degreasing, I guess. Well, I finally got the engine on the stand. It was a total pain because we had to modify the brackets at the back here, and we didn't have bolts long enough to go through the stand, and one of those days. But anyway, I finally got it bolted up, and Jake's left for the night and he's left me in charge of the shop. So I've got a few more hours here that I can spend pretty much just pulling off any accessories off this motor which I left, and then just start cleaning. And I was hoping to get it painted today, but there's no chance of that happening. But we'll just see how far we get, and then I'll be back here tomorrow anyway, so we'll get into it. And don't be lazy, always bag and tag all your bits and pieces. I'm just going to dump the oil on this thing so I can now pull the sump off. I'll spin it around, pull it off, and I'm a little bit anxious actually, because when I bought this car, I bought it with the under the impression that it's the factory matching numbers motor, but it has been converted to a 351 crank. So the only way to tell is to check the crank out. So while I'm pulling it all apart to clean it up, I may as well do that now. So once this oil's drained, I'm going to swing him around and pull that sump. This is it, last bolt, and I am myself. I hope this is a 351. All right, here we go. I'm trying to take this off with 1.5 hands. Oh, fail. Liars, thieves and liars. Boo. Never trust. It doesn't really matter. The car's a factory 302 and it is the matching numbers engine, so it is actually true to the car. So not a big deal, but I just hate liars. Why say it's a 351 if it's not a 351? It's just stupid. And I almost didn't open it up just so I could say, yes, it's a 351, but I couldn't bear to not know. And I hate being that guy, so I had to know. And 302, right there. Never mind. It's still going to be a good rig once it's all done. I might just I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull a bloody end bear. I'm not even sure if I'm going to pull a cap to see what the bearings look like. I probably should. Here's how cars snowball. Anyway, flip it back over, start cleaning. Okay, so I have all the exhaust ports here blocked up with rag to keep any crap out of there, and also where the dizzy goes. And I've just bolted the sump back on loosely just to stop too much going in there. I've hit this all with the degreaser, and I'm gonna try and wheel it over there. This thing sucks, but I'll try and wheel it over there and give it a blast. And then I guess I'll probably blow it off and maybe start wheeling. I'm sort of getting tired and over it, and it's just been one of those days, but I'll definitely get it blasted off at least so I can drive tonight. Alright, well that does it for the world's worst hose-off job. It was so dark in that corner, I couldn't see much at all. But the majority of the gunk is off, and it's like, I'm just knackered. I'm over it, so I'm going to go home for the night, and then I'm going to be back in the morning and try and get this thing stripped and, you know, maybe even in paint. But for now, I'm just going to go around and spray some WD-40 in all the ports, just in case any water got in, just as a precautionary measure, and then let it dry overnight, and we'll be back in the morning. Woo, she must have got windy here last night. I'm probably lucky that I moved my motor, not that it probably would have done much damage, but yeah, this whole place is falling down. But here we are, next day. This is all dry now, and now I've got to go to town on this thing with a nylon wheel, a wire wheel, sandpaper, whatever I can use to get in there, clean it all up. Clevo's all ready to go, so it's all been degreased, wire wheeled. We ended up, I have a little descaler thing at home, which is a bunch of like metal fingers that like, it's almost like a sandblaster but without the sand. It's really good for high build, like old crusty paint that was on this, but that's at home. I forgot to bring it, so Jake had the idea of hitting it with the oxy, which like burnt the paint, and then with the wire wheel actually come off pretty good. So it's all pretty tidy now. I've already blasted it and prep soldered it, and I've taped up everything that I want to. I've got the rocker covers just sitting on there loose just to cover the rocker gear, because I've got some genuine Ford rocker covers to go on. So yeah, we've got a bit of sun today, so I'm going to heat it up with the oxy again, get it nice and warm, and then give it a light coat of etch primer, and then on with a heavy build or high build primer, 2-pack. All right, so that's just the etch primer, which is only used on bare metal surfaces. and it doesn't need a thick coat. It just needs pretty much a light coat just to help the next coat bond, which in this case is a high build primer. If the engine was bare metal or brand new, you'd pretty much use an etch and then go straight on with the 2-pack paint. But because this has a few layers that I've done my best to clean up, I'm going to use a 2-pack high field primer and then block it all nice and smooth, then hit it with the paint. Alright, 2 coats down, I've got 1 more coat to go, and then I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to be back here tomorrow. I'm going to paint the sump and the other rock covers and the water pump all separate so I can lay it all out nice. I'll get a few new gaskets and then button it all up, and this motor's going to look sweet. Alright, next day, back down at Jake's place, and I've just got to get this engine all rubbed down now. I'm just going to hit it with some paper on some of the smoother spots and with some Scotch Brite on some of the awkward spots just to scuff it up, and then going to give it a coat. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get the rock covers because they're way up my block in the hills. So for now, I'm just going to paint the block and maybe the sump, and that'll pretty much do for this time around. Alright, so I've rubbed this the best I can. It's pretty hard to get into all the nooks and crannies, but it should be pretty right. I'm going to give it a quick dust coat with some etch primer just to bite in a little bit, and then I'm going to hit it with the 2-pack Cleveland Blue, which I'll show you now. It looks so good. Oh, that's miles off. This is no good. This is way light. I don't know, it didn't look that white on the swatch, so I don't know. Jake's got some here. He's being a silly person. He's got some real dark blue that he used on a Windsor. I might add some of that in there and try and darken it up, because that doesn't look any good. That's like, it's a bit hard to see on camera, but yeah, it's not good. It's going to be like a darkish blue with like a grey tinge to it, so I'll add a little bit of blue, darker blue, and hopefully get it right. Alright, so paint's all mixed up. I mixed up way too much, I think, but it's all good. It wasn't overly expensive. But I'm pretty happy with the colour now. It looks pretty sweet. Definitely better than it was. I'm going to get this little minigun here and see how we go. Well, I'm a bit bummed. I've kind of spewing. I've forgotten so many things that I needed for this week. The sump's not painted, the rock covers aren't painted, the air cleaner's not painted. I'll have to do that all another time, and that will be on a future video. But for now, at least the bulk of the block's painted. I hung the extractors on there just to see what they look like. Really can't appreciate how good an engine looks until you start bolting the accessories on the thing. So not a super exciting episode this time, but it's all progress. And if anyone knows how much work's involved in actually doing an engine, and I'm only doing the cosmetic side of things, so yeah, that pretty much wraps up this episode of the Iron Empire. Come back for future upgrades on the XB, and check out back for any other cars that I'm building. I've got heaps on the go, so if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, check out the online store. I've got plenty of merch on there for anyone that wants to support, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers, guys.